All right. So, Dylan and I just made breakfast with some leftovers from last night. And in the spirit of sharing, um, the way that we can learn anything from anything, as long as we, or especially if we reflect on it, and sometimes reflect on it with others. So, just wanted to demonstrate how Dylan and I are going to do that now. We're going to talk about the breakfast we made, and we're going to think, is there a way that we would make it differently next time because we think it would taste better, be better, etc. Or is there something we would change in our process to remove any risks that we might have taken? For instance, I hand added the cayenne to the hollandaise sauce, which could have been disastrous. And so we're going to reflect on some of that stuff and try to see. So I will be calling out and mentioning the critically important skills for business, for life, for happiness, for relationships that he was practicing in there, and that I'm going to help provide some names for, and then I'm also going to learn from some stuff from Dylan. So anyway, here we go. So we had leftover ground beef from tacos last night,
Right.
Spanish rice, and then we decided to make kind of a eggs Benedict style thing by making some kind of spicy hollandaise to put on top of that. And we fed 4 people in our household, right? So we had a bit of a kind of busy kitchen going on. So how did you think it turned out?
Good.
It was pretty good, right? I really enjoyed it. So there were a number of things we talked about during where we're like, ooh, let's do that differently next time or whatever. But do you remember, like, what would you change about how we did it? Either for product or process that would be better.
I would have started melting the butter first.
Right, first step in hollandaise, melt the butter. Why melt the butter first?
Wasn't ready in time.
Wasn't ready in time. Yeah. So change the order. And I'm just going to take some notes because why not? So change the order of getting the ingredients ready for the hollandaise. Just have it all ready to roll. Cool. Yeah, anything else you remember that we could change from our process?
We added some vinegar to the hollandaise sauce, and it was a risk because you didn't know if it would curdle it or not.
Yep.
And we added it to the whole thing instead of
Oh, right.
small batch.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so we learned, I think this is critical for process in general, right? So if you're going to test something, it's kind of like testing fabric for colorfastness, right? Like if you want to see if a cleaner is going to like damage the fabric, they recommend not like spraying it right here on the stain and then finding out that it bleached it, but doing it on like the inner hem or something where if you tuck it in, people won't see it. So I poured vinegar into the whole hollandaise, which could have ruined the whole thing. And we thought, oh no, right as we poured it in, we could have done it in a very small amount of the hollandaise to see what happened. There's probably a name for that, but anyway, so critical. Could have ruined the whole thing. Luckily it didn't. Also, I measured or hand did the cayenne with a whole jar of cayenne pepper over the thing. And some dumped in, and we thought it was going to be way too much, but it turned out okay, but it could have been a disaster. So just some like safety or process things that would affect all cooking forever, right? What else did we learn? Anything? Like what would be better? What would have been better about the product? Like the breakfast itself.
The rice cakes were.
Rice cakes could use a little crisp on them. Like they got a little crispy and then they kind of uncrisped. They also could have used a little binding agent, which you mentioned in the beginning.
Yeah.
The problem with egg is that you then have to make sure they cook all the way through.
Yeah.
Whereas, and then maybe or just a little egg like coating and some panko or something to give it a little crisp. Anyway, super tasty. What did we do well, do you think?
I think the eggs were cooked.
Eggs were cooked really well. The timing was good. Like everything was still hot.
Not the best.
Yeah, but that was, just in terms of like plating and serving. And the flavors were on point, I would say. Yeah. Hollandaise was good. Really good. Yeah. So anything else we would definitely make it again, right? What else would we change, if anything, about that whole breakfast? Could use a sprig of parsley for a little garnish, a little palate cleanser. You got a hair hanging right there. Boom. Yeah, I think that might be mostly it in terms of our.
Maybe a little meat. No, well, the ground beef was good.
Ground beef was good.
Yeah, the ground beef.
It might have also been nice if that was in a little bit of a patty for like
Yeah.
stackability, or I don't know.
I had some portions of a little more ground beef.
Yeah,
But
that was good. Little fried tomato on the side for a little more acid
Mhm.
might have been good. Anyway, so a little reflection on, so in reflecting on what we learned here, so one of the concepts I introduced for Dylan is that when you reflect on something, you can both talk about how could the product be different, and so product and process, right? So anything we're doing, if we reflect on it, we can say, hey, what would I do differently about the product, and what would I change about my process so that it's better next time? What do you think about that?
Yep.
Is that a valuable thing to know? And just the idea of how reflecting on something, even super quickly, can make it all better the next time. Critical component here. I didn't force Dylan to do this. I didn't force Dylan to make breakfast with me. I asked him if he wanted to. It was something I know he's interested in. Hollandaise and eggs Benedict and poached eggs. And I told him we might make $1 million off these videos. So yeah, but he clearly doesn't believe me. But anyway, so neither of these things were forced. They were both invitations that he accepted. There are lots of times when the invitations aren't accepted. And if this had been forced to try to educate him, I guarantee that those things wouldn't stick with him. But what would stick with him is, hey, it's okay when you have power over other people to force them to do things. So there's an episode of whatever we're calling this. And thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. And thanks for breakfast. All right. Good luck, everybody.